Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. It's been a while since we released a video, I know, but we've been saving some good ones for you. There's some more coming out in the next few months, you'll see. So today's video is on a new series of speaker. This is the Monitor Audio Platinum 200 that you see next to me. Monitor Audio have recently refreshed their whole Platinum series. So they've gone from the Platinum 2 to the Platinum 3rd generation. So let's just get some of the obvious differences out of the way right out of the gate. Visually, the big thing that I notice from the Platinum 2s to the Platinum 3s is they have removed the leather front face. So they've gone away from that. Now it's just wood the whole way around. This is in the gloss ebony finish, which they have carried over from the Platinum 2 to the new generation. It looks really nice. It's highly lacquered, so very reflective and glossy. But one thing I would have to say about this finish that I actually do really like when you compare it to something like gloss black, it doesn't show up the micro scratches or the micro marks the same way gloss black does. That's one thing I definitely really like about this color. You can see you've got a little bit more silver accent ringing going on around all the individual drivers. They don't come with grills anymore. The Platinum 2s did come with grills to cover the mid-ranges and bass drivers that you could remove with a magnet. And the feet are a bit different, and I'll talk about the design of those once we get into it. In terms of technology, what they have updated, basically all the electronic hardware inside them is all ground up, brand new design. The actual cabinet itself is a new design as well. They have borrowed from the Platinum 2 design. It hasn't really changed in overall shape, but they have re-engineered the actual structural layout of the internals and how they do the really thick front baffle inside of it. So it is a better cabinet, it's just that the shape looks the exact same. It's a brand new micro pleated diaphragm tweeter that they had developed for the Concept 50 model that they debuted and showed off at Munich High-End 2022. So they've used that tweeter in this. It's a brand new RTD2 mid-range and RTD2 bass drivers. The bass drivers have got bigger voice coils on them now, so they've got better power handling, which is really good. The feet are pretty cool. I really like them. They are this really awesome shaped piece of cast aluminium. So that cool shape that they're sort of designed, I believe, is what gives it all of its strength. But the key thing about them that I really like is the way you adjust the overall height of your speaker. So if you don't have a perfectly level floor, often you will need to adjust the spikes on the underside of the speakers so that there's an even amount of pressure on all of them and it's not rocking or anything like that. Put your finger under the top flap, it's just magnetically held there, you just pick it up and that reveals the Allen key hole that you can put your Allen key in there and adjust the height of the spikes just like that, and then put the flap back on. Really easy to do. No more having to precariously balance your expensive speaker on 2 feet while you adjust it or get a friend to help you. You can just do it all by yourself. It's a really smart design there. Oh, and one more other thing that they talked about in their design documentation was with the crossover. So it's an all new crossover that they've designed, and the crossover has been now located rather than vertically inside the cabinet on the back wall. They've actually seated it on the very bottom aluminium plate. So it's sitting horizontally mounted to that bottom plate where all of the vibration is able to dissipate out into the floor. Apparently that makes a big difference, having the crossover set nice and low where the center of gravity is, allowing vibration to escape. Describing the sound of anything on a camera is always very difficult, but I think probably the best way to go about it would be to compare them to the Platinum 2s, the 2nd generation, which is what these are replacing. They're definitely a more open and musical sounding speaker. They've still got plenty of bass, plenty of top end resolution, and the mid-range is buttery and smooth. But the biggest difference I notice now when listening to these speakers compared to the Platinum 2s when we used to have those in the shop is, for lack of a better word, musicality. These speakers, my foot just taps more. I'm just enjoying them more. They kind of present a more real, lifelike image, and I think that's where that musicality factor comes in. You know, the Platinum 2s were already a fantastic speaker. This has just honed and refined it even further. There's nothing about them that necessarily, in my opinion, stands out as being like it's pride and joy. Like, you know, it's not like the bass is the same and the mid-range is the same, but the treble is much, much better. I think everything has just come up in the same amount. So I think in short what that means is they've just refined a bunch of little things. Obviously they've got all new drivers, but they're iterations of the same driver that they were already using. It's just another newer version of the RTD2 bass driver and another newer version of the MPD tweeter, and all these little tiny refinements that they've done in the driver technology, in the crossover technology and location, the cabinet design and construction. All of those tiny little refinements add up to an even increase across the board from the Platinum 2s to the Platinum 3s. So in terms of room size, what you would use them with, it's definitely worth remembering that with this range of speakers, with the Platinums, they sound a lot bigger than they are. So these Platinum 200s actually fill this quite large room very easily. The Platinum 300s I'm sure would add more body and a sense of scale to the soundstage, but you know, these are relatively small floor standing speakers. I'm not a big guy, and they fill this room with sound quite easily. So you don't need to go for the biggest speaker. I'd say given their tonality, they're a highly versatile speaker that can be used with a wide range of amplifiers. I've tried them on Accuphase, I've tried them on Yamaha and Marantz, and even a little bit on Roxanne, and they sounded like they performed just as well across all those brands, not really preferring one or the other. I'd say power handling, even though these speakers can actually handle a bit more power than their previous generation, they don't seem to require as much to get them up and running. The Platinum 2s did used to like having a bit more power if you could give it to them, whereas I've had these speakers here running on some, you know, slightly weaker amps like the Accuphase E4000, which is about 160, 170 watts per channel. It's not a lot, and they went quite well. Actually, I've had it on the Accuphase E800, which is only 50 watts per channel, but that's Class A, and that still drove them pretty well. In terms of application, what you would use them in, absolutely, they work perfectly for a high-end music speaker in stereo configuration because they've got heaps of resolution to them, but they also make a fantastic home theater speaker because of the amount of power and oomph and bottom end that they have, and also the ultra high resolution MPD tweeter, which naturally has a short but wide dispersion field. They work fantastic for theatre because it means that the treble is spread evenly throughout the room, across the whole couch or viewing area, without vertically hitting the ceiling or the floor. So they make a great theatre speaker. Pair that with one of their C250 centre speakers and some 100s for the surrounds, and you'd have an awesome, awesome theatre. But I think that'll just about do it for our video today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it or found it useful. If you want to have a listen to these speakers, we've got them here in the showroom at Soundline Christchurch, 329 Madras Street. You're welcome to come down and have a listen to them, or give us a call if you've got any questions about them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Ka kite anō.